In this video, we're going to take a look at statuses within BrokerBrain and how to administrate those. Basically, anywhere you are within a property and can set the status of something, whether it's a preservation, a billing item, a property, a offer, a contract, those types of things, you have control over the statuses that you see in those menus throughout the system. And that is all administrated under the Admin tab, and we're going to go over that now. So if you look to the left, you'll see that we're currently sitting on the Billing Status Admin section. And this is pretty much what the default system looks like, where you have vendor invoice received, owner billed, and payment received. And you'll notice that if I try to click in this area, I don't have the ability to change the name of these statuses. And each status category within BrokerBrain has what we consider hard-coded statuses, meaning they come default in the system. You can't take them out. You can't rename them. They are there, but you can add any additional statuses to those that you would like. So in this case, if he maybe had vendor invoice received, owner billed, payment received, and we wanted to add a new status maybe called outstanding invoices and add that as a custom status for us, I can click add now, and you'll see that we have a new status called outstanding invoices. And because this is a status that I've created, if I forgot to capitalize a letter or whatever, I can choose to update and rename or handle this status however I so choose. And you'll also see that I have a delete button next to this status but none of the others. And that's again because this is a custom status that I've created. And in each status section, and if you look down the list on the side of the screen, every single one of those that's designated as status, you'll see billing status, cash status, contract status, etc. Each one of those will have the same basic functionality as what we see here. Now the weight for any given status is going to dictate what the sorting order is for these statuses and how they display in other parts of the system. So for example, right now we have outstanding invoices at the top. We would probably want to move that after owner billed and before payment received. So we're going to use the weight to move this so that when somebody goes to set the status of a preservation item and set its billing status, you want them to see them in the order that they move through that process. So I'm going to go ahead and set this between -7 and -4. So we'll just say maybe a -6 for the weight of outstanding invoices. Is when I update, you'll see that outstanding invoices now moves down in the list. The smaller the number, the higher it is on the list. The larger the number, the lower it is on the list. And this is the case for any status in the system. And again, all statuses can be customized by you. So if there's something that you're missing or you feel like there's a status that you'd like to add, you can come to the admin section and find the corresponding page to administrate that. Now, there are two statuses that have some unique settings associated with them, and I'd like to go through those quickly. The first one is the property status section, and you'll see that we have some additional options to the property statuses that we didn't have in the billing status and we won't have in some of the others. And I'll just go across the list here and explain what each of them are. The public checkbox right here is considered designating a status that will allow people to search your public website for properties that are in that status. And obviously the initial is probably not one that we would pick, but if I set, let's say, listed as a public status and then I set under contract as a public status, that means that any property that is in a listed status or under contract status will be searchable via the public website. And we can actually go to the property itself and override this on a property by property basis. So let's take a look at that real quick and go to our properties, and we'll pick a listed property, and in this case we'll go to this one. And under the miscellaneous tab for an individual property, you'll see that right now we have a message that says that this property is visible on the public website. If I click edit, I can say for this individual property I'd like to remove it from my public website. And this is regardless of the status that it's in. So if you need to just quickly take a property off of your public website and not worry about moving it to a new status, that's how you would do that. But if that particular flag is not set for a property, if it's in this case the listed or under contract status, you're anybody that can access your public website would be able to search for properties that are in those statuses. Next to that is the public offers checkbox, and what this will designate is what status a property needs to be in order for you to receive offers through the public website on that particular property. And we're not going to go over the scope of how to enable that functionality in this video, but do know that if a property does not fall into a public offer status, then offers cannot be submitted on that property through your public website. The last checkbox next to the status is the archival checkbox, and this allows you to define which properties will be considered archived within the system. As long as a property falls into an archive status, it is considered archived. And archived means that the property is no longer counted against your price plan within Broker Brain. And we allow you to pick what is considered archived. Now, properties can be moved in and out of archive statuses at any time. A status can be designated as an archive status or removed from the archived status at any point in time, as long as your pricing plan allows for that number of properties to be active at any one time. So if you have processes in which properties sit static for a certain period of time where there's really nothing moving forward on the property and you don't want that to count against your price quota, you can create a status, mark it as archived, and we won't count that as an active property within your system. And technically, an archived property or a property within an archive status is searchable by the system. You can download all of the documentation, see the photos. The property is in your system like any other property. The only difference is you can't add information to that property in terms of offers or preservations or utilities. Major operations that take place to the property can't be done while it's in the archive status. But again, you can move a property in and out of the archive status at any point in time to continue to work that property forward. So those are some of the unique settings for the property statuses. And the last one we want to take a look at are some unique flags underneath the offer status list. And again, everything's basically the same except for a few key features here. The first one being the offer order. And when you go into an individual property and you're viewing the list of offers that have been entered for a given property, you can affect the order in which those offers are displayed in the list by controlling the offer order, and these work exactly the same as weights. So the lower the number, the higher it's going to be in the property offer list, and the bigger the number, the farther down it will be on the list. So you can force your accepted and maybe presented to sellers at the top of the list, and then move all your rejected and withdrawn offers to the bottom of the list so that they're out of the way. It is important to note that any offer that's in a public pending status, which means it was submitted via your public website, will always be at the top of the list. We don't give you the ability to control that from here, but those will always fall to the top, and then everything else will be sorted based on how you choose to set the offer order. And then finally, the last checkbox here is the include in total offer count. And what this does is when you're looking on your public website to see if there's a single offer or multiple offers, or you're in your part of the system looking at a property, looking to see how many offers a property has on it, you can choose which statuses an offer has to be in order for it to be added to that particular count. So if we had, in this case, a rejected, a withdrawn, and a canceled offer would not count as valid offers on the property, but basically everything else would. And you can control which statuses an offer has to be in order for that count to be applied to the property. The one caveat is, and you'll see that there's a note right above this section that says to include public pending offers in the total offer count, you'll need to adjust that under the admin site settings tab. And that just basically means you can choose whether or not an offer that's been submitted via the public website that has not been reviewed yet, you can choose whether or not that is calculated in the total offer count for the property as well. And as I was talking, I realized there was one other status that has a unique flag associated with that, and that is going to be the preservation status. And you have the option to, when a preservation goes into a particular status, whether or not it's going to show the billing status for that preservation. And this is just to improve real estate and not overclutter the screen. Obviously, you're not going to be dealing with billing procedures in a preservation that's out for bid or where the work is being done. And so we give you the ability to say, okay, when a preservation goes to this particular status, now show me my billing information and my billing status so that I can work through the billing process on that particular preservation.